All right, sorry, Jare. Go ahead, Adebusola. I'm hearing you.
Okay, so when you said the guy said that the wife is not the friend,
Right.
is not the best friend,
Not the best friend,
neither
yes.
is she the partner. Like for the partner part, I understand that if somebody is your wife, that makes the person like automatically your partner. Like a wife is like a partner.
Yes.
But the part of best friend, I do feel like in a lot of relationships and marriages, I think people have best friend and they also have their either their spouses or their partner as
Right.
well. And sometimes the best friend is not the partner or or the spouse. So maybe like in that regard, I feel like I kind of agree with him in a way in that regard because like some of the things that people complain that breaks up relationships sometimes
Right.
is when people pedestalize, like maybe when people put whoever they are with as their all, like the friend, the wife, the father, the mother, or whatever. And sometimes some things are meant to be separate. Like the role of like maybe a best friend might be different from that of a partner or that of a wife
Yeah.
or that of a husband. There are some things that friends discuss among themselves like that they don't really discuss like with the partner or and vice versa. And
Right.
so I felt like in that regard, maybe, like although when I asked the question about you asking him what he meant
Yeah, what he
by
meant by that. Oh, yeah.
that was what I meant. That was what I was alluding to
Right. Right.
initially. So like I don't know, like is that rightly bad? Like from your own perspective, is that rightly bad that uh, someone's either wife or partner is not the person's best friend.
I see. I see. No, it's a good question. It's a good question, and I do have answer for it. Right. When I was saying it, I was very particular about the fact that he went out of his way to make that point. Right.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like I was very particular about that. Like he
Okay,
wanted.
it wasn't something he mentioned in passing or
Yes.
like oh okay.
Yes. And I also made the point that if in the same breath those three things are aligning, your wife cannot be your partner, your best friend, and your next of kin. That issue is deeper than just best friend. Okay? You see what I'm saying?
Oh, oh,
That
okay. It felt like it's probably his belief.
Yeah, it's a mindset. It's a mindset
Oh,
in
okay.
particular, right? It's not necessarily it's not necessarily the particulars of the exact statement. You're absolutely correct. It depends on the dynamics of people's relationship, their marriage, right?
Hmm.
And some people they function better by having a certain level of space, you
And
know.
separating.
Yeah, like people have their friends, you have your friends, we'll come back together, we'll do family, right? And so some people need a healthy, and some people have trauma around that. Like maybe they used to be with a partner that smothered them to death, like you said, by pedestalizing them, and it's just you, my whole world. And they like, okay, they can't even step out to go to the grocery, right? And it's a big deal. So that's why context matters in these conversations, right? That's why, thank God you said that. Like, what do you mean? If somebody says something, like, before you assume what they mean, like I said, I've been having conversation with him for 2 years, so I kind of have an idea what he meant. And especially that those three things line up, right? But
Mhm.
but when it's a mindset, the scriptures talk about two or three, right? When two or three people gathered, yeah, you establish certain things, right? So when it's a mindset, you notice that the talking points are aligning. This is just a person who basically needs to separate. It's a dictatorship talking point, basically. They think that's what works in the marriage, and you and I know that that's not gonna work. Because it's not just the friendship that you'll be behaving like that in. You'll be behaving like that in everything else. You don't, like, you keep secrets. You think you should build your own house separately, and we're going to the extent where people are suggesting that we should live in two different apartments. It's just next to each other, just like Kanye West and Kim Kardashian, but we live separate. Some people are suggesting that we should have a term or marriage license. That means 2 years. After 2 years expire, you have to you can choose to renew it or not, right?
And what that living apart life isn't necessarily bad. Like it's a kind of family model. I think some people they do it, especially in Nigeria, like where maybe their dad works in Abuja and they stay in Lagos. Like the family is based in Lagos, and maybe their dad comes over, like maybe during the weekends, or they go over during the holidays. I feel like some family models like is like, I don't know how, like you are not in Nigeria, so like the Nigeria economy, like people, where people get jobs and how they make money like dictates a lot of living arrangements like for them, like, so I know a lot of family that they are doing that living together apart model, and it's
Can
working.
you tell me a little bit more about that? So they have apartments next to each other, or just different houses?
No, like I'm talking about, like maybe they work in different states, like maybe the
Oh,
family, they used to be in Lagos, for instance, and maybe the company now, the husband get
right.
promotion and move to Abuja, and they're already established in Lagos, maybe their businesses and everything is there. So you will see such families like the wife and the children will might be in Lagos and the husband is in Abuja, and they kind of make it work like they living together apart model
Right, right.
family system.
So
So
that's a different thing entirely. That's circumstances, not necessarily the family model, right? I think there was a conversation around that like 2 3 weeks ago, where people were saying, can it be long distance permanently? That it doesn't. The pastor Ibiyomi, that was saying, if your wife lives in Canada and you live here, this would be an example where he's right. If you deliberately like separate your family, right? It's not like the company moved, right? You just say this is a model, right? For a typical person in 2023, it's not going to work. There's one partner, at least one of the partners will feel like, why are we doing that? You know, maybe the other partner likes their space, but the other partner is like, why are you so far? Why are we so far apart? And there were also rumors, if I'm not wrong, that this is one of the things that created division between Yul Edochie and the wife. He used to spend a lot of time in Enugu, and they were in Lagos or something like that. I'm not sure, right? So it's not like it can't work. There's nothing that can't work, and there's nothing that's wrong, right? It's about you and I as a spouse. Did we subscribe to this? Truthfully, this is what we decide we're going to do, right? If we both agree, then anything can work. We're talking about the possibility now, but is
yeah.
it probable, right? What are the chances that it will work? It's almost none, because we know people, right? Once we're supposed to be doing life together, and I'm living in another town, and I'm a human being, no matter how righteous I am, you know what happens to righteousness, right? And I'm alone in another town entirely. I'm hanging out, acting like a bachelor on a consistent basis. It's highly unlikely that it can work. It's not like it's not possible, but it's unlikely. That's my opinion anyway. But I think back to the original, right? It's the family more people fantasize about love. We know that it's not perfect. The idea of being in love, right? It's not perfect. In fact, that's precisely why people love it, because it's a frame of reference from what could be, right? And what I have. So that's why you see people love the Banky W's, people love what, certain perfect pictures, the Auntie Joker, Silva, Olu Jacobs, all those kind of stuff. People love that because of the same reason why people love the idea of paradise. One day we'll forever be in paradise, right? It's like a end to all of this suffering
Where there will
and
be no sorrow.
no sorrow ever. People fantasize, but I can't stop people from fantasizing about that. That's what creates this experience. You do it in romance, you do it in business. you want a business, you keep working on this dream, it may never come to fruition in reality. In fact, most businesses, 95% of them will fail within first 5 years. But yet people will go and try business, right? It's trying to become entrepreneurs, right? But that's what gives us the experience, being on a journey, being able to strive for greater, for better, right? So yeah, it's not about right and wrong at all. I think it's possible. I think it's probably won't happen. I think you know the idea of people living separately. I think when you've gone through some experiences, you kind of fantasize about that. Like, for example, it's a real thing. There's at least one partner, when they're going through separation, at least one partner is feeling smothered to death. They want just some space. They're tired, right? So if that person wants to advise, if that person become a Solomon Butcher, be that they freeze on internet, if he wants to advise person, what you go say?
Okay.
You get it?
Okay, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
There's a question that I really want to ask. There's this guy in the chat that said, "Guy talk." What's guy talk?
Guy talk. Well, let me see.
He said you were doing guy talk or something.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'm toasting all of you guys here. I'm just looking to collect. Maybe I'm looking to collect panties in the back channel.
It was when you were talking about this next of kin thing.
Let me see. When I was talking about next of kin thing, let me see. Which was it? Was it APC Bishop or Timmy or Shivajo? Oh, yes, Timmy. Let me see. I'm trying to see if I can. Yeah, this was a troll, but I think what he's basically trying to water down what we're doing here. I don't know. Oh, okay. Yeah, he doesn't have a real thing to say.
Okay.
It looks like it's been blocked already. Yeah. Yep.
Then next, I also want to touch on this Bucci thing. Is this Solomon Bucci?
Solomon Bucci, yes.
Okay, so is it not the same guy that give like a backhand compliment to the fiance the other time? Like they say, you might not be the most beautiful.
Yes, blah, blah. I think so. Okay, he talks too much. One thing, I think so. I think I remember that story. Yeah, I think so. I think it was him. That was when I was still getting familiar with his brand. His problem is essentially the same thing. If you notice, it's too much English. I probably have the same.
I do feel like it's just like, I don't think like this particular message that you are reading, I don't think it's bad, especially for youngsters. Right. But like the way you articulated and the way you worded it might be a little bit problematic, like for people receiving it, kind of, because like in telling people not to be testing what's that word?
No test
for sexual compatibility up and
right.
I just think it's not a bad idea for young people, like
to test multiple sexual partners.
Yes.
Like, why is that? Tell me why you think so. Because you're going to the other extreme now. But go ahead, tell me why.
No, I'm not saying they should test. I think I agree with him.
Okay, you agree with him that they shouldn't test. They shouldn't be testing. Yes, I agree with that too.
Because I feel like, for the most part, especially people that are young, that are not up to like marriageable age, maybe people that are still in high school, like going into a uni. What do like if you're in a relationship at that time? What's the purpose? Like I ask people like, what's the purpose of that relationship? And we have a lot of people that have like years of trauma because they keep getting into this relationship that they know nothing about, and they have no idea what they were doing.
Right.
And I do feel like this talk that he's actually talking should be something that parents should have. Kind of talk that parents should have with their words, hoping that they listen. Like, for the most part, I feel like some of them will listen, because if you ever have years of trauma, falling in on love, falling out of love, by the time you you're ready to get married, like you're
Yeah,
going to carry all those trauma, like from all these different relationships
it's a
into like,
problem. It's a
yes,
problem.
into the marriage. So I think I kind of,
Yeah.
outside, even Christianity aside, morality aside, just for self-preservation, like I feel like it's actually, it would be
It's
a good
good.
practice. Yes,
Right.
I feel like it's not something bad, like for society in general, like for people to like not be testing waters, like,
Now,
but
it's good that you came up and say that, right?
mm-hmm.
And I agree with you, right? If you notice from your delivery so far, in your submission so far, you haven't said much about sexual compatibility. You're just talking about self-preservation and not collecting trauma. And I do preach that here, right? I do go against people advising people to wait till 35 before they get married, because between 15 and 35, you just collect and then you come and be projecting to the rest of the world, right? So I agree 100% with that. The issue in this post, the
Okay,
first phrase is sexual compatibility.
okay,
Over here, it goes into sexual commitment. And the next is sexual commitment. He's talking about he's linking that together with sexual compatibility. He's basically demonizing people that that have that are basically saying what I'm going through with this partner is sexual compatibility. It's basically discounting the existence of such a thing as sexual compatibility completely, right? Then you go to this one too, same thing. Sexual compatibility says, I'm going to test you, and if you are not good enough, I'll leave you. That is a false statement.
but people do it.
No, people don't. People are just having sex because people have sex. That's not why they're doing it. You see what
No,
I'm
some
saying?
people, like, no, like I've heard, this is not the first, like I've heard people say these things like that before they get married, like that they would like to know whether they are sexually compatible with the person. Like it's okay. Like I don't know. Like I feel like
Do you
I
think that? Do you think so? You're saying that's they shouldn't do that, right? Which I agree with, right? They shouldn't be
I'm saying
testing.
for you to be sexually compatible with somebody. Let's say okay, let's accept the premise you are testing for sexual compatibility. Like what if, like after the person get married, something happens to the partner or the partner gets sick, or like there are a lot of things, a lot of factors that people don't consider in this issue of
Exactly.
maybe sexual compatibility. And I also strongly believe that you don't need experience, like prior sexual experience, for you and whoever you want to. If let's say marriage is the goal for you and the person you want to get married to be compatible. You don't, like, I don't think you
I
need
don't
that.
think you do too. I don't. The funny thing is that okay, so we are agreeing on a couple of things. I wanted to see if I can separate it, right? I don't.
Okay.
I don't think people need to have sex ever before marriage to enjoy sex in the marriage. I think he's right about that part. That's a lie from the pits of hell. Okay, he's right about that part. What I'm saying is that you can do all of that and still end up not being sexually compatible. Maybe not as a reality, but you feel that way. You feel like I'm not sexually compatible with this person. You don't have to have previous experience before you realize that whatever we're doing in this bed, I know they feel like I don't enjoy it. It's not what I thought it would be like in my head before I got into marriage. But he's linking the two together as absolutes. As in, like, sexual compatibility means I'm going to. No, sexual compatibility means somebody's already in it. That's what that topic means. We're in it, we're not feeling each other. The level of attraction is low. After we do it, I don't want to do with you again. That's what that topic is. Now, are people, based on what you were saying, are people using this excuse to go and be sleeping around? Yes, I think so. But that's not what they're the one that are wrong with what sexual compatibility means. But that's not what it stands for. You see what I'm saying?
So what is sexual compatibility?
Sexual.
Is it not
Go ahead.
okay?
No, go ahead.
No,
Finish your question.
like I do. What is it though? Like from your own perspective, maybe we are talking about two different things.
So usually it usually is feelings, okay? is low level of attraction. You don't. When people have low level of attraction, what they conclude is that we're not sexually compatible, right? Now, the
Wait,
assumption
wait
that
a
I'm
minute.
disagreeing with was that. So,
Wait a minute. Do people get married to people that they are not attracted to?
no, sometimes attraction goes up and down, like the stock market, right? So instead of understanding that self awareness that this is real life, we can do something about this, right? What they do is they run for the hills mentally, and one of the things they run to is accuse sexual compatibility. They just
Um,
assume we're not sexually compatible. They used to be, right? And yes, people. By the way, there's another story that I have in mind. I will give it time before I tell it. Yeah, people do get married to, especially here in the Yankee or in the Western world. People do get married to people they're not sexually married attracted to, maybe for papers, maybe for other agendas and stuff like that. People do that, you know.
no, wait a minute. Like, I'm sorry. Let me ask a question.
Sure.
Like, they don't like the person at all.
Yeah, they just like the away to aloria, the green paper on top of the guy's head. People do that, and
I know people
in
get
recent
married.
times, I'm hearing more and more of those stories. And they meant it, and they wanted to make it work, but eventually that big ugly elephant head will show his head. They
Like,
really didn't
I
like
do
that person.
understand that people get married to get the couple. Like, you don't even like the person at all. You're not even
Yeah,
physically attracted to the person, and you get married to the person.
yeah. We're not talking about agreement, contract. Oh. We're talking about you're not sexually attracted to the person, but this person can do papers for you. You kind of like, we'll be fine. We figure it out along the way. You kind of like, and the fact that, in fact, the fact that they can do papers for you, maybe depends on where you're coming from, can become a sense of attraction for you. It can become an illusion, right? Like, no, I like him. Yeah, of course you do paper for me, but the last thing you're thinking about is after I collect paper 5 years later, uncle, right? That's the last thing you're thinking about. But when that reality shows up, that problem shows up. There are people like that. That where it
Okay.
was never really about the sexual attraction, but they thought there are people that tell themselves that they don't like sex, but eventually, eventually they will realize that wait, I'm horny like all these people. Oh, what's going on? And they were like, but I don't like doing it with this. Like they want to, but they don't want this person, right? So people discover themselves in different dimensions over time. Part of the things they might discover is that I'm not really sexually attracted to this person. It can also be a momentary thing. It could be because people just had babies. It could be because people have other issues going on health wise. It could be just the space where they are in, even career wise, that's affecting that part of their marriage, right?
Okay.
But to your question, Sha, yeah, people do get married to people that they're not sexually attracted to, but they were attracted to something though. There was a value that they were getting from getting into it. Some people say because of money. Some girls in Nigeria get married to a 20-year older guy because it's going to take care of security, financial security,
Yeah, but
and
they kind of like the person.
that can
Like,
be
it's not they
sexy.
don't like the person.
Yeah, true. That can
You-
that can be a sexy thing. That could stimulate that part of the brain, make you feel like if you feel safe, secure, right? The person takes you out,
Mhm.
travel, Dubai, all that kind of stuff. But if the person go broke, Sha,
The affection goes.
yeah, it might just disappear. Some people grow on each other too. Some people like that. Some people suggest arranged marriage. They say it will grow on you, and the reality is that does happen too. In 2023, the chances are very slim to none because of social media. People fantasize about people with six packs and at least people that are fit, right? And if you don't make sure that the attraction is there, I think it's a dangerous game that people play, Sha. Because we're talking about a
or
lifetime
or
here.
at least they should have like similar values. Like, they should align in that area. To some extent,
Yeah.
something that can keep them going. Like, eventually, if they are together. That
Yeah.
was what I was just going to ask.
Right on
Very
time,
good
7
stuff.
7
Yeah.
p.m. Thank you, Adebusola. Anytime you're welcome up here.
Okay.
All right, we'll talk soon. Bye bye.
All right. Bye.
All right, that was a good one. Nice discussion. Thank you for everyone who is here today. Okay. All right, I'll see what I can do, D Love, this week. I will see about something that I can possibly do. about our afternoon shows. We see what we can work out. Okay, I'm gonna look into some things. Marriage of necessity cases now. It's real out there. People just don't know what agenda people have, But I think it's a dangerous game, But shout out to Adebusola for helping me elevate the conversation. I appreciate you all. All right. So now, what's tomorrow? Tomorrow is Sunday. Oh yeah. We should have something tomorrow, definitely. Okay. But I appreciate you. Hopefully you've been enlightened, educated. I'll see you on the next one, and